Hello, welcome to Tamburi Mundi Frame Drum channel. This is the sixth day already, and we have 10 days of Tamburi Mundi Festival, the International Frame Drum Festival in Freiburg in Germany, southwest Germany, close to Switzerland and France. And we say welcome from the EWerk studio here in Freiburg. We have a small channel studio, and in the EWerk there is also a big concert hall here, and we will stream our concert at 8 o'clock German time in the evening. So the stream is free for you, just to invite you to our program. And in the afternoon we have 2 hours of talks, 2 hours of inspirations, news, new ideas, personalities that we want to introduce to you. And our first guest is Jarrod Cagwin. Hi, Jarrod.
Hello everybody. Merhaba Murat.
Merhaba, merhaba. Hoş geldin.
Hoş bulduk abi. Teşekkürler.
Yes, yesterday we were just chatting to check up the last things, about about what we're talking. And so Jarrod switched from English to Turkish to German to Spain. Wow, so multilingual person, Jarrod.
I do my best, There's people that are much better than me, but I try to learn every place that I go. So.
Yes, and I know you travel a lot. You lived also a lot in different countries, but about this we will talk later.
Yes. Yeah.
We would focus now more on your music, on your frame drum, on your approach, on your styles, on your techniques, what you have, what new ideas you have, and what you develop with maybe instrument builders or even by yourself. And so we are very happy that we can have a small, we can look into your musical universe. And maybe you would like to start.
Yeah, of course. The most important thing is I was a drum set player for all of my life, and I didn't start to play hand drums until I was 20. And the first thing I started with was South Indian percussion, specifically kanjira. And so a lot of things about my technique are coming out of this old Remo drum that I have here. You can see how used it has been. I don't use it very much anymore. But so we're talking about that thing about the technique, and which we know what that is. And then that got combined with my training as a drum set player, but specifically as a rudimental snare drummer, because I was involved with drum corps training. So when I approached frame drum, there's a lot of things in my fingers that are directly coming from stick control things in rudimental drumming. That combined with certain hand techniques that I learned from my Syrian teacher, Nabil Kayat, on how to put your hand into form and do things. So a lot of that's coming from the Rick as well. And that's how I end up kind of with, and within my technique, I really focus on having absolute finger control in dynamics and single strokes, all throughout the different ranges of the drum. And of course, I always can have that sort of thing. But the one thing I will say about my technique, I don't do a lot of like Persian snapping. I can only do about one or two on both hands, and I treat them exactly like I'm doing rim shots from snare drumming, from rudiments. So I really spent a lot of time, especially with my left hand, building up this complete strength. And I only use the snap, when I need it. And there's one thing I notice a lot with people when they're learning frame drum. It can be a crutch because it's hard to play the left hand up here to get it strong. And a lot of people learn how to play the snaps, and then they don't know how to play actually stronger strokes out of that. And so a lot of things about my technique is really trying to have this uniform hand coordination, and you know, I don't sit with the drum in any sort of weird position, and I keep it very, very classical in a certain way, and I only move it in front of my body if I'm doing it on purpose, or I move it away. And when I teach people, this is something I find very important. It's like a classical approach to the drum, and not to really not get into a point where you can't play something because you're in a bad habit. And that's the most important thing I want to say about my hands when I do play. This is not so much important, all the boogada 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 stuff, but within the drum, these things that I do with how I control sounds, getting harmonics and dynamics. This is coming from what I learned from my Syrian master, whose name was Nabil Kayat. So my technique is a little bit different from like what I guess you would consider like a Western frame drum approach. I kind of have a mix between Turkish and Arabic training, more than I am anything about American training on that.
Yeah, that's right. In America and the States, it developed really. It's like a new instrument, like, but it's so interesting to have these different sound ideas or concepts.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just kind of quickly going through some. I wanted to kind of make that kind of an important thing about how I play and how I teach as well. That it's, I mean, I have a very strict posture when I play, and the way I express through the drum, it goes in different directions. When I'm going to play ta, I'm moving the sound straight up. And when I'm going to play din, and this is coming from solkatu, from conical, and I'll split my finger, I bring the sound straight out. When I'm going to play doom, with a full palm doom, I'm pushing the sound over there. And when I'm going to play nam, which is my hard talk, all the fingers split, and it goes in like exactly like my hand looks, like both directions, choom. So a lot of things about how I play, especially with a big frame drum like this, I think in 360 degrees. I feel like I'm inside of a globe. And it's not just playing from what my ear wants to hear. There's a lot of things that have to do with how I progress the sound and push the sound out of my body. And that comes from my training within Sufi music, specifically from Nabil, and mostly from what I was doing in Turkey.
Yeah, exactly. The Sufi music has a different concept of breathing and of.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Yeah, about when I play this kind of drum, everything is about breathing. And you know, I learned that so much from Nabil, how to play Ayub. That's what you're doing with the drum. You're not playing like just straight. Swinging. And that's something that I find it's hard to kind of convey that, especially with young people when they, you know, to have that technique. It takes some time to learn that. But the most important thing is actually, before you even play that rhythm, learn how to do the breathing, you know, breathe in the right way.
Yeah.
And then everything will kind of fall in line about that. I mean, you can't really learn that from notes on paper. You can try to do it, but it's a different thing.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so I know also that you have different, let me say, modern frame drums or some multiple frame drums. So
yeah.
maybe
Let me show that. I'll show that, and let me explain a little bit why this came into place. as I said, I'm a hybrid drummer, so I do a lot of things with drum set and percussion combined. And I basically, before the pandemic and all this, all I do was just traveling and touring. And so it got to be very important to me because of the way airlines work and, just having so many bags. I had to make drums that could be multifunctional in one drum. Because I was carrying cymbals as well and so many things, I don't want to carry 5 drums that could be put into one. It's just 5 drums. A lot of that concept came from there. And also because I am a drum set player, I wanted to have drums that would be a frame drum that would kind of reflect what I could do drum set wise, but just on one kind of drum. So what we ended up doing was developing certain types of, and this is a kind of a 35 centimeter drum that we call Creature. And this was first developed by Norbert Eckermann from Eckermann Drums. And then when we started working together, we really kind of evolved it into what the modern state of it is. So what you can see, we're looking at erbani or a daf. We have a little bit of daf rings inside. There's Moroccan gut snares here, which are, everything is adjustable. I've got Rick jingles here. I've got Pandero jingles up here. And I have Italian tamburello jingles on this side. And what's important to say, I developed my own kind of ways to put mutes in, so I can take everything completely, all the jingles out. I could remove this by adjusting, take the snare out. I can tie up, and on this drum you can see it a little bit more clearly. We have these mechanisms here. I can make the drum go completely without all of this sound. And as I have it now, when I play it, and there's different ways I can play it in different positions, I'm going to put the DAF rings on the inside so that the leaning, the snare is very tight, and I have a very kind of like drum set sound. And things like that. So that was great for me. Okay, I can use this with a little bass drum or something like that. And I have certain kind of cymbals that I developed as well that allow me to put within the percussion context. I hope the sound comes out that way. I have to show it to you. And so this is called the Creature drum. And I wrote a book for it. There's a whole method on it, ebook that's available with 400 different videos.
Wow, that's amazing.
Because there's a lot of techniques that are involved with playing that drum. And there's so many things you can do with this drum. I can play it up like this if I want to have that more DAF quality. Then you have the Rick quality. And of course I can put it, which you can't really see on the camera now, if I put it down between my legs, I'm going to play more African style. I spent a lot of time in Ghana, and I played Accra drumming, Ga drumming, so Kabanogo style. So I'm using more full hands down here. Which is kind of, I know you can't see it, but that's really where you change the difference between where the jingle sounds are, which makes this drum just so multifunctional for me. I mean, I've got, I don't know how many of them I've got, and they all sound a little bit different, but are all indispensable to me.
Yeah, yeah. But before you before someone learns this instrument, they have to be able to play rig. They have
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to, yeah.
to understand the concept of DAF, the sound, the movement. So, and then otherwise, if you don't know, for example, how to play the DAF, and you go on this instrument, maybe it's too confusing, or what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think from that point of view, I mean, everybody should find their own way to play it. It's not like, oh, you have to first study Rick, and then you have to study DAF, and then you have to study how to play Moroccan bindir, and then, the drum is for however when anyone can make their musical approach to it, and I just happen to be, that's the way I do it. But I mean, yeah, as I said, of course, it's coming first from all those things together, and that's how I kind of developed the drum that was personal for me, for all the things that I could, all the different kind of musics I could play. And, I use it so much in jazz contexts. And, if I want to, sometimes I have it completely, everything muted. If I'm in a church, for example, and I'm playing Baroque music, I'm going to make the whole drum just a normal tar drum,
Yeah.
So that's what the benefit for me was. Just okay. And instead of taking 5 drums with me, I've got something in like a handbag that goes in my carry-on luggage.
Yeah, I think we can really understand that you traveled a lot and you had to carry a lot. So I think that was a must have such an instrument to reduce all your luggages for the travelings. And I think that's a good idea. Also with Norbert, I know he's doing beautiful work since many years. And
Yeah.
how it came that you worked together, or how it started?
Well, when I moved to Paris in 1999 from New York City, and I think it was in 2000, the next year, or perhaps even in 2001, I was playing 3 nights a week in the center of Paris, in a jazz place, with playing like a hybrid percussion setup. And Norbert was there for the messe in Paris, Musicora, I think it was called. And the guitar player that I was with in that band, he was at the Musicora, and he saw Norbert Eckermann, and Norbert had a drum stall stand. And so he said, oh, you got to come down, we're playing tonight, and come down to Paris, and you're going to meet my American friend. Norbert came down, and we kind of went down into the basement of this club where all the dirty laundry and the beer kegs and stuff were, and he started showing me his drums. And I was so impressed, just right, because what's very important to me is natural skins. I'm a natural skin player. I don't prefer synthetic, especially for all the musics that I do within Europe, which is a lot of times old music or Baroque music, or things with Rabia, or things within that old way of thinking. Synthetic. It's not that I don't think they're fine for certain things, but I'm a natural skin player, and Norbert is a specialist on natural skins. So that's how we started developing, and immediately we just started passing back different ideas. He met me on tour a couple of months later, and we picked it up, and eventually, I moved to Austria to be closer to him, to really collaborate. So it's a long story between Eckermann and me. A fantastic one, and I've got, I don't know how many, 400 different types of drums. So I've got too many.
Yes. And so you were talking about natural skin, the difference of natural skin and synthetic. So many people say, when I have synthetic skin, I don't have to tune, I don't have to care about weather. And this is the biggest argument, they say. So what about you? I mean, how is it with tuning? How do you handle this problem, let me say?
Okay, so now there's definitely certain circumstances where I will use synthetic drums because it's just, I'll take a risk of breaking a drum, a natural skin drum, because I'm in such a humid environment. If I'm playing like on the seaside in August and the wind is blowing in from the sea, you know, I just, there's no way, however, I could break everything. So there's definitely those points about when synthetic is good for doing like a gig, like a one-off gig. I would never use them in the studio, basically. However, how I deal with tuning, and I tune kind of like the old-fashioned classical timpani way, all the screws around. And I do not have perfect pitch. However, I've been trained, when I went to school, and I have very good relative pitch. So I learned a lot about tuning when I was living in Turkey, and this goes way back 20 years ago when I was first going there, because I had to tune my frame drums directly on the tonic, the one note that everything's going to be either on that or on the fifth or something around that. But it had to be like exact. When I was playing with an oud player, Mehmet Bitmez or Derya Turkyan, I couldn't be, I had to be absolutely exact. And that's how I went to school about learning how to tune, was playing with Turks. And then, of course, when I was started working more with Baroque musicians or even more early music things here within Europe, it became so important and noticeable to me that when my drums were in tune or when they were not in tune, it would change the entire aspect of the music. So I spent a lot of time just by basically dealing with experience, getting real good, knowing the environment that you're in, the climate.
Yeah.
You see what time of day it is. Is it open air? Is it going to be in a closed space? Are we going to have klima? How hot are the stage lights? So, it's basically every time I walk into a concert situation, I'm a weatherman, first of all. What does it feel like here? And so I'll tune the drums, trying to kind of estimate how it's going to be on the first song when we come out. That's something that you don't like just learn how to do that quickly. It takes experience. And I always try to tune with an instrument that's there. I'll tune with a piano when it's after they do the piano tuning. When I play with Joachim or with Elizabeth, people hear where I got to play something where the drum needs to be in tune. I will tune with that instrument. I do not prefer to use iPhones or a tuning machine. The only tuning machine that I do use is a Shruti box from India, because it produces a tone with vibration, and you can get the harmonics within that tone. And this is extremely important when I tune. It's not only about you're listening for. So I can tell that my harmonic is running straight up the backbone, and I'm in tune. And so this takes all this way of going around quick, back and forth, knowing a bit about geometry. It takes some skill for tuning. And to be honest, when I've got to play, I'm always tuning, like a violin player. But I do it very subtly, but you're just tuning all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty about playing natural skins, is you have to be in tune with your instrument in a certain way.
Yeah. So this is a quite similar experience that also I have, or I like this challenge also, tuning inside a piece and being in tune, because as you said, the instrument is living, is breathing also, and you need some time.
And as I said, this really came so apparent to me when I was playing classical Turkish music, sanat music, old stuff. You can't be like, you can fix things in the studio, of course, with auto-tuning and all that, if you're isolated. But if you're playing with somebody next to you and you're a little bit off what his pitch is, it's like bad looks immediately. You know.
Yeah. Oh, it's very close to Baroque timpani with the screws, and so the tuning is really something. I mean, if you buy a tunable drum, it doesn't mean wow, my drum is always in tune. No.
No. I mean, you got to learn how to tune it, and it's. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm a drummer, and I knew things. I studied classical percussion. I studied timpani, and I know things about how important tuning is. And if you're just a beginner, this can be very, very challenging, extremely challenging. And if you have a natural skin drum and you buy it and it's a dry day and it rains the next day, you think, what happened? My drum is broken. How do I fix it? Yeah, you have to put the screws up. But yeah, it takes a little bit of, it takes some time, to some skill and to become one with your instrument and with the climate and your surroundings.
Yes. So and you have an ebook, but we can talk maybe later a little more because we will meet again later.
Yes.
So maybe if you have a few words about your teaching style, or if you have you created probably you are so experienced teaching many years. So do you have something that is, let me say, typical Jarrod way or typical Jarrod sound or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, if we just go right down to the basics, like when people that come to me that they don't really know how to play or they've had a little bit of experience, the very first thing is basically how to make those first four sounds, like the doom, the center tech, the edge tech, and how to get your posture and the way you're going to project, like just very simple strokes and your arm movements. Everything that I do, and I noticed this with many different techniques, lots of drummers, they strike into the drum like this or something. And most people think, okay, it's a drum, I have to hit it. And my whole philosophy is that whole movement thing, which is kind of coming from the Sufi, as I said. So when I tell people how to make doom, I don't know if you can see that, it's like I'm moving, it goes that way. I've got a stroke and I got a follow through. I do not do this, just smack at it. So I try to think about playing tennis or playing golf. When you play tennis, you don't just smack the thing, you've got a stroke and it follows through. So when you come down to hit the drum, it's going to go through you and go that way. And when I'm going to do that stroke up, it's going to go up that way. And when I do that stroke back, if I'm going to do the din, it's going to go that way and that. So that's the basic. A lot of things about the focus of how I teach is right in the beginning, even with people that have had experience, and I can see that they're kind of, they don't understand why they can't get their left hand stronger, or they can't go they can't advance anymore. And everything also comes out of this Indian technique of Kanjira, where I'm rotating all the time. Even when I'm playing in my Arabic or Turkish techniques with straight fingers, it's always this rotation. I'm never doing things like that where you bend the wrist. That's the most common mistake I always see for beginners, and they can't get out of it. So a lot of things, how my philosophy of teaching is that fluidity of movement, always keeping yourself in the sphere and keeping your breath open and not trying to force the instrument to speak, but breathing with the instrument.
Yeah. We could talk much more, go much deeper inside, and but we will make a break with you, Jarrod,
Yes.
and you will see us in a half an hour again, and we can talk a little bit about your path, your way, and your projects, etc. So we see later, and we will do now a little training, let me say, with Shorley. He was here 2 days ago. So see you,
Okay.
Jarrod.
Thank you, Murat. See you later. Okay. Thank you.
See you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Hi, Ken.
Hello, Murat.
Nice to see you again. Wow,
Be here
twice a
again.
week. This is fantastic. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Doing very well. Yeah, I've had my coffee, so everything seems possible. It's great.
Ah, yes, you for sure. It's in the morning there.
That's right.
And you need a coffee. Okay, now. So you usually drink coffee, right?
Well, you know, for years I was a tea drinker, and then on my last, not my last trip to India, but the one before, I got addicted to South Indian coffee, and since then it's just all downhill. It's all coffee. So yeah.
Coffee. Yeah, this gives you energy. And so when you wake up, you practice certain things, or you make warm-ups, exercises, or what do you do in general?
First thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny about exercises because I've been working quite a lot over the last year, especially adding to my YouTube channel. It's really making that sort of, sorry, I'm getting the volume right. Making that a focus of my creative output. And so I have this little book that I carry around with me, and it's just there. And I'm always coming up with little patterns and exercises and, you know, moras and korvais and all sorts of things that may actually factor into videos I put on my channel, or they may turn into more formal pieces that I will play. I'm not very good in the morning typically, so I made sure that I got up early so that I would be nice and fresh for this session. But
Nice.
are you a morning person?
I mean, if you have kids, you have to get up early because of kindergarten and school,
Right.
and I mean they
I
are
have no kids, so
a little older, but still I have this inner clock. Let me say,
for sure.
maybe it will change one day, like summertime, wintertime. But at the moment, I wake up and I like it. Wake up early, right?
Yeah, it's nice.
And so this exercise book is, I mean, I can imagine you have so many things because the percussion is all the time. I think you have new patterns, new genius ideas maybe, and it's never ending to practice, I
I don't know if
think.
there's any genius ideas, but certainly ideas that I find interesting, and that's the main thing. And I'm sure you must find this too, because there's something about the rhythms of life, whether it's machinery, even you put in the laundry, and there's a certain thing that happens that can inspire some rhythmic things. And I think living in the world, being awake to all the rhythms that are happening, certainly for someone like myself and someone like you, who is a person of percussion, it is very, yeah, it just gives me a lot to think about.
Yeah. And so we can talk maybe a little about your projects or your musical ways, or so what is, where can we hear you, for example, or in which musical contexts?
Well, it's interesting. My context, because of where I live, which is in rural Canada on the East Coast, the opportunities for me to play frame drum specifically are fewer. When I collaborate with other musicians, often the percussion that I'm doing is, shaker, tambourine, more things that blend with songwriters. Although I also teach at Acadia, which is a university close to where I live. And there I get to teach a course in world rhythm and drumming. I also teach gamelan. That's my other great passion, is that I'm in love with
Yeah.
West Javanese gamelan, and I also get to teach that.
Yeah.
So probably the place where, if people are interested in hearing what I'm doing, I've been putting a lot onto my YouTube channel, and it has, occasionally I will put solos. Most of the material that I'm sharing is, here's this rhythm. They're more lessons and just little offerings. I do have a hand percussion group,
Mm-hmm.
with two other of my dear friends, but we live very far from each other. They are both in more the center of the country, and I'm on the East Coast, so we don't get to play very often. But I'm always coming up with concepts for pieces that we can play as a trio. The
Yeah.
main thing that I'm doing musically these days is with my wife, who is a fantastic songwriter and vocalist. Both of us are students of Indian music. She studies North Indian and I study South Indian. But
Oh,
we get to play. So some of our music is inspired by what some people call, a world fusion sound. But currently she's my favorite person to make music with.
nice, beautiful. And we can hear this music on your YouTube channel, right?
You can, if you search my name, Ken Shorley, I have a channel. My wife's channel is Sahara Jane, and
Sahara Jane. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
and we've been making, actually the other thing we've been doing is video. Both of us are really fascinated with video making, and we've been doing live streams for other people because we have gear to be able to share things. So, but both of us love making videos too. So there's a lot of creative things going on, and because of the way that I live, and I think many freelancers do this. They have to build their lifestyle and their income from many different sources, and that's something that I like because I am fascinated with lots of different things. So it makes sense for me to get to explore music in many different ways.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, Ken. And so today in the channel, we will continue with your work that you are presenting on internet. And so we can continue now with another workout today.
Wonderful.
And so I would say you can start, Ken.
Thank you so much.
Great.
And thank you to everyone who's tuning in. I'm just gonna change my screen around so I can see what I need to see. Um, for those of you who were here on Monday afternoon, I offered what I call a frame drum workout, and I'm going to do a similar thing, but with a new rhythm today. So quickly to recap, I mean, this frame drum workout, I'm really plugging the YouTube channel. Go check me out on YouTube. But if you visit my channel, you will see one piece that I have, which is listed there as a frame drum workout. And I go through 4 different rhythms. One is in 4 beats, one's in 3, one's in 5, and one's in 7. And the whole method of a workout, and I should be quite honest, I'm not a workout person in the physical sense. I don't go to the gym. I try to ride my bike, and but I can't say that I'm coming to this with a lot of experience as someone who does physical workouts. But the concept of doing a frame drum workout for me is as a method for developing your inner sense of time. And I'm going to be very honest. I think I mentioned this on Monday. Many of my ideas come directly from South Indian drumming, and my great teacher, the Vidwan Professor Trichy Shankran. I want to make a special moment of love for him because he has completely reshaped the way I approach music and the way I perceive time. And one other ad, I would like to do a huge shout out to Cooperman Drums. I'm a very proud endorser of Cooperman. Okay, so this workout deals with something which South Indian players call trikalam, 3 speeds, and it's 3 proportional speeds. A slow, what would be called slow speed, medium speed, fast speed. But these are geometrically related. Slow to medium. Medium is twice as fast. Fast is twice as fast as medium, 4 times as fast as slow. So it's like 1 to 2 to 4, or 1 to 3 to 6. So the piece that I have today, I'll show you. This is a piece, it's in a 4-beat cycle. And the other thing about the workout is that we impose a metronome on this. And this is partially also, as I said Monday, myself trying to develop a healthier relationship with the metronome, which hasn't always been friendly. But today we are going to make friends with the metronome. So this is in a 4-beat cycle, and this uses some split hand techniques that come directly from the kanjira, and it's this. Okay, this phrase here, there it is, this one here, is a combination phrase. When you were, if you were to speak this rhythm, you would say kitataka, kitataka. But this is different than the kanjira version, kitataka, which, you know, because you're playing the kanjira all with one hand, all of these kitatakas, these split hands, it's just back and forth between what I would number 1 for the index finger and 3. 1, 3, 1, 3. So this is a variation on a kitataka that I came up with. I don't know if I came up with it. Well, I'm sure this came from somewhere else, but I've done a little translation. So the first stroke is a snap with your top hand, followed by 3, 3, 1, 3. So in South Indian terms, that would be a takita, 3, 1, 3. So together, this kitataka is a snap, 3, 1, 3. Okay. Snap, 3, 1, 3. And it goes immediately into a dum. So if you read this pattern, it sounds like this. Kitataka dum dum, kitataka dum, kitataka dum dum, kitataka dum. So it's a very nice, relaxed pattern. It's not difficult to play. And what we will do to make it more of a workout is to try and stay in time with this metronome. So the way I think of this, and we will do the slow, medium, fast. Vilambalaya, Madhyamalaya, Duritalaya. Durita, okay? And this metronome, you can hear it, and every 4 beats there's an accent. So at medium speed, it will take 2 cycles to play this. Let's try that. Kitataka dum dum, kitataka dum, kitataka dum dum, kitataka dum. Okay, straightforward. When you move to when you do a slow speed, everything is proportionally, it takes twice as long. So everything is half as fast. Okay, so it would resolve only after 4 cycles of the metronome. So it sounds like kitataka dum dum, rest, kitataka dum. And there's a challenge, not just the challenge of talking while you're playing to a metronome, that's my own challenge, but the challenge of staying in time, allowing this rhythm to be as slow as it can be, but still accurate. Okay. So the other thing that I want to reiterate is that metronome is there as a tool. It's there to help. It will also be a good reminder of the fact that we are human beings. We don't play perfectly. There are some people who have a very developed sense of laya, which is what South Indian players call this inner time. And most of us are working on it, and we're trying to, move to the next stage where we feel more comfortable with it. The metronome is just there to remind us that we're human, and just take it with a grain of salt. So this workout, this frame drum workout, will move in progressive stages, and I will call those changes. So we'll start at a medium speed, which is kitataka dum dum, kitataka dum. And I should point out, I'm saying the phrase kitataka, even though here it says snap takita. But to say snap takita, I can't even say it. Snap takita is very awkward. So if you're speaking with it, you're playing this, snap 3, 1, 3, but you can say kitataka. Okay? So we'll start at medium speed. And the idea also with this workout is that you want to push your stamina and your strength. So we will play these patterns for an extended period of time. It might feel longer than what you really need to, okay? But part of that is just to really allow yourself to enter into the tempo and, enjoy that feeling of sort of grooving with a metronome as much as it's possible to groove with something that doesn't care about you. Okay. So we'll start medium speed, and then we'll move to the slow speed. Then we'll come back to medium speed, and then we'll go fast. So the medium will be the sort of transitional one. So we'll see how far we get. I mean, there's still quite a lot of time. So I also have, if we get through this one and we want to try something else, I have a different rhythm we can also try. But let's try and focus on this, okay? So the first step is, as I said on Monday, in any healthy relationship, listening is very crucial. So let's listen to the metronome. I have it set at 154 beats per minute. And it's just saying this is where it is. So don't worry about trying to subdivide. Don't worry about figuring out, oh, how does it fit in? Just listen to it and try to allow the movement to enter your body and just feel it, okay? So let's hear the pattern before we start playing it. Kita taka dum dum. Kita taka dum. Kita taka dum dum. Kita taka dum. Try that out. And you'll notice with this underline, I think most people have seen this type of writing. The syllables that are underlined are played twice as fast as the ones without anything. Kita taka dum dum. Kita taka dum. Kita taka dum dum. Ready? And. Play past the point where it feels boring. We'll reach that point at different times. Once you become familiar with it and it makes sense to you, you can think, oh, is that it? But just relax into the tempo, really try and find unity between what you're doing and what the metronome is saying. A few more times, then we'll go to the slow speed. Here we go. So everything is exactly half the speed as it was at the medium. Really stay relaxed with the tempo. Make sure you're not doing what I'm doing, which is holding tension on my shoulder. We all have a place where we hold tension. That's where mine is. So the pattern starts here. Kita taka dum dum. Kita taka dum. Kita taka dum dum. Kita taka dum. Back to the medium speed. Okay, now we haven't tried the fast speed at all. Let's just jump in and see what it feels like. So fast speed is twice as fast as this. So one whole pattern will fit within one cycle of the metronome. Oops. Thinking too much. Don't think too much. Ready? So one of the things that I certainly notice, and you'll probably notice this too, when you go from one subdivision to the next, there can be a couple seconds where it feels like you're not stable, like your rhythm doesn't quite line up the way that it should, and that's fine. As you do these types of practices, not just this type of workout, but any type of drumming that you're doing where you're switching suddenly between faster and slower subdivisions, the more of that type of work you do, the easier it will actually get. One of the things that I find helpful, say for we'll do it without the metronome, but if you're at the medium speed and you want to move to the fast speed, one of the things that helps me is to try and hear the subdivision first. Okay, so at this point, and it's interesting because this pattern, because it has two different speeds built right into it, we can hear some of that next speed. You know. The other thing too, I mean, I just chose this particular tempo, and for your own practice, you choose your own tempo. So the slow, if you want to start it much slower, then the fast will be a bit more comfortable. If this seems too slow for you and you really want to rip it up, it's fine. Okay, let's try that one more time, and we'll do the same sequence. Okay, so we'll start medium, we'll go slow, we'll go medium, we'll go fast, we'll go medium, we'll go slow one more time, then back to medium to finish. So it's kind of one of those, okay? So medium is sort of our transition. We'll always keep coming back to that. So we'll start with medium, then we'll go slow. Back to medium, then we go fast. Back to medium, then slow, and back to medium. All right. So just take a couple seconds to listen to that. If your body feels the impulse to move slightly, let it move, you know? I think one of the worst things we do to school children is force them to sit at desks and not move. So I think learning and moving, I actually read that somewhere, that the same part of the brain that controls learning controls body motion. So I'm not a neurologist, but I did read that and I thought it was useful. It's because when I let my body move, things seem easier for me to absorb if I'm trying to learn some new pattern. Okay. So we'll start at the medium speed. Da 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 dum dum. Da 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 dum. Da 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 dum dum. Ready? And. back to the medium to finish. Here we go. Great, great, great. And it's interesting. I have had some people watch the video, the frame drum workout video, and ask why is the tempo set there? Because the slow seems a bit too slow and the fast seems too fast. For some people, the slow seems too slow. For others, the fast seems too fast. And I think for me, the importance, I mean, it's obviously inspired by the approach that South Indian players have, where everything is learned in one speed and then you double it and you double it. So that influence is there. But I think it's also one of the things that that I hear, not just from students, but from some of my colleagues who work at the university. And these are professional working Western classical players. And they have confessed to me privately after a couple of beers that they don't always feel comfortable with their own sense of rhythm, with their own sense of time. And so it's something that I've noticed is in the context of Western classical music education, it's often the rhythmic aspects that are not fully explored. And so if you have the chance to, if you come from that background and you're learning the violin, you're learning the piano, timpani, whatever, if you can find these other sources where the rhythmic theory, the rhythmic understanding is broader, and that's true in certainly North Indian music, South Indian music, Arabic music, Turkish music, African music, of course, amazing African music, where the whole idea behind working with rhythm and being in rhythm as a musician and sort of having that take up a lot of your focus in practice. Anyways, I think those things are can be really, really crucial, really helpful. So thank you very much for joining into this frame drum workout. If you're just getting here, sorry you missed it. My name is Ken Shorley. I'm a percussionist from Canada, and please come visit me on YouTube. I love sharing ideas about rhythm, about drumming and percussion. And I want to really give a huge thank you to Murat and the whole team at Tamburi Mundi. It's been a real treat, and I'm blessed to be part of this festival. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ken, for joining us. And probably we will stay in touch, and who knows what new ideas you will have, and maybe we can present them again here.
Wonderful.
Say bye-bye from Freiburg.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thanks. Bye now.
And now we will continue with Jarrod.
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yes, Jarrod, can you hear me also?
Okay. Say. Okay.
Okay, so you had a small rest now, or you watched Ken's workout?
I went down to the beach for a swim. I live on the seaside, so.
Oh, you live on the seaside.
Yeah, which causes a lot of problems for the humidity, but yeah.
Yeah, but for yourself, it's good. For the drums, less good.
Yeah, it's okay. Her şeyi abi. Her şeyi.
Yeah, so before we already met, for all of you who just came in the channel. So we are here with Jarrod Cagwin, a brilliant percussionist, frame drummer, drum player or hybrid drum player. And so before, from 2 o'clock till 2:30, we talked half an hour about your musical approach, your ideas of drumming, about sound, aesthetics. And so if you missed this talk, you can go on our YouTube channel, right? So you can watch it whenever you want. It was very interesting. And now we will talk about you, Jarrod. How you, yes, because we have always here in our channel guests who can talk a little bit about their their musical life, their career, how everything started, because this is so unique. Everyone has a so interesting path, and so if you would like to introduce us your way, how you found everything, and yes, maybe you can.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Mura. Thank you very much. And before I just talk a little bit about my background, I want to make one point that what I say, there's a destination about my story. It's something that I hope that can be related to anybody that wants to learn something about frame drumming or another culture, because I was never born into anything like this. I was born in the United States, in Iowa, not into a musical family. And I had no brothers or sisters. I was the only child. And I grew up as a drum set player. Since I was a very small boy, I started playing drums when I was 2 years old, in fact. So as I grew up in Iowa, which is not really one of the most culturally inspiring places. You don't have a lot of influences coming into Iowa, especially in those times in the 70s. I grew up as a classic rock drummer, drum set player. And all through my high school, I grew up with band playing. So most specifically was the rudimental aspects of concert band, marching bands, and jazz band. This is a very important thing about how I approached the frame drum in my later years. So when I was 18, I got a scholarship to go to Boston to Berklee College of Music, and still as a drum set player. And that's where I just, for the first time in my life, I met so many different people from different cultures. And the first time I even played a hand drum, like a tambourine, rather than just the rock and roll tambourine. And the most important thing about what happened to me was in my second year, I was part of a percussion ensemble made up of ex drum corps musicians, kind of like me. And so we come out of that highly trained rudimental snare drum or all that training that you have from the drum corps, but we were playing a composition that was rearranged for Western instruments that originated in South India. And the composition actually came from Karakudimani. It was made by Jamie Haddad. It was rearranged by Casey Shorley, and we were performing this music in this ensemble. And I never heard rhythms like that. I was, of course, very familiar with rudimental drumming, but the logic and the phrasings, and of course, all of us that we kind of know a little bit about South Indian rhythm, it's extremely well thought out and very well planned about how they do their thematic developments and phrasings. So that was completely amazing to me. And then I heard the original recording, and I heard that was with Mridangam, Kanjira, Gatam, Mursing, and most importantly, Conical. And at that moment, just everything switched. And then I said, for some reason, I'm going to go, I have to study everything about this. So I did a lot of independent study, and Jamie Haddad at that point had just joined the faculty, and he became my mentor and my teacher for the following years. And if you don't mind, at the moment, I would like to play just a little bit about, because we're going to relate it into frame drums, what I do now. Some things about that South Indian things that I have done. Very short, just a 1 minute clip. Can we play that now?
Yeah.
I share the screen, and where's my, hold on, share sound, and it's of course not there. Oh. Hold on. Sorry, Moet. This is the last. Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Did that come through? Okay, just one little bit more now. This is so the one thing I want to talk about. There's a thing about counting backwards, and that's something that I learned from a system from South India. As you go forwards in time, you count backwards, which is a very long kind of thing. I won't go into it too much, but everything that I do about my calculations, I'm counting backwards as I go forwards. And this is in 5. Okay. So that's a little. So just to explain a little bit, that's a modern thing that I did in the last couple of years. However, that's using a lot of that. Let me back. I don't play classical South Indian music. I'm not a performer in this, but the knowledge and all the things that I learned about the mathematics and about the construction and about different techniques on those drums, that's how it ends up with what I kind of do with frame drums. So what you just kind of saw there was probably an Indian would say, what the hell was that? You know, it's like, he's got, what kind of kanjira was that? What kind of, you know, he's putting frame drum with dolak, you know, completely like a melange. So it's kind of what I'm trying to say is like everything I do about in my music, I'm not a traditional player in any field. I don't play traditional Western music. I'm not a traditional Turkish classical player. I don't play classical Carnatic music. However, I've studied a lot of things from those different points, which kind of come together to make what I consider to be my artistic expression as an artist, not just an executioner of playing tracks in studios and things like that. Now, when I was after Berkeley, I lived in New York City for a few years, and that's when I really started developing hybrid drumming techniques. I had done my studies with Trichy Sankran, and you know, for 1 year, all I did was play kanjira and mirdangam. But you know, you can't show up to a jazz gig unless you're with John McLaughlin with a mirdangam. You know, something like it's not really the most versatile instrument. So that's how I started working with how can I use frame drum techniques to incorporate within jazz. Also, because I was in New York City and you were playing in small little places, how to get everything like really tight, very acoustic, but be able to play in a drum set sort of mentality, like a jazz player, but with hand drums. And so that's kind of when I really got started with the rick, because I found I could do so many. I mean, of course, I was doing belly dance things and stuff down in New York City, but also because of what the work that Glenn had done playing with different jazz musicians, notably in the beginning with Rabia Bukhail and of course his own records. I really looked at the rick as something, okay, this is an instrument that has so many different possibilities. It's an incredibly difficult instrument to play, which takes a lot of you know, training and finger control exercises. So that's how I got into rick. And after that, I started working more and more in Europe with different bands, and that's how I got picked up by Rabia Bukhail. By very good fortune, 22 years ago, we met, and I knew all of his music, and I started playing in his band primarily as a drum set player. But I had a strange drum set. It was not a normal drum set. It was a percussion set made of rototoms and no snare drum. And Nabil Kayat was the second percussionist, he's from Syria, and he specialized in rik and Sufi art of mizhar, as he called it. But Nabil never did anything fast. It was only about single strokes and how to control the breath and things like that, as we talked before. And I learned so much from him about how to groove, because the guy could put two notes together and make them swing. Just amazing with the guy. And I had the fortune to be on stage with him for 3 years and be in hotels and just be able to learn everything about the rik and the art of Sufi drumming from him. So this was the thing that changed my entire life, and that's how I ended up living in Europe when I started working with Rabia. Now, Nabil got an illness, and he had to stop playing with us and go back to Syria. So it became my responsibility to actually do two jobs at the same time. And that's how my hybrid drumming really started to evolve, because I had to play so much things with a frame drum up here and all through the drums with my right hand, and the independence. It wasn't something that I took lessons on. I went to buy a book or something like that. I had to figure the crap out on my own. And really, that's how I started to we had to do shows. It wasn't like I had time to practice even. I figured everything out on the stage and in different recording sessions. And do you have any question at the moment? I would like to play just a modern version of me doing that for 30 seconds. May I play it now?
Yeah. Please.
Okay. Okay. So this is, no, sorry, that's the old one. I'm sorry. I have to find, there it is. Okay, there it is. That's me and Nabil in Istanbul in 2000, and that's the only photo I have him on the stage. There's, of course, many videos from the old days. So he played this very, very large, what he called mizhar. There's so many different names, bendir in Turkish, and it's kind of similar to what I've got here. It's very, very large diameter, 60 centimeters. And so that's definitely typically him cool. And this is I'll play the video of me with Rabia from behind the drums. This is with Rabia Bukhalil, and we're playing in 14, and it's very aggressive drum set sort of frame drum style.
Nice. I was in a concert, but there was a drummer before.
Mark Nassif.
Mark Nassif, exactly.
Yeah. So I came after Mark in 1998, 99. Yeah. So yeah, this is it's pretty much a rock and roll song. I'm playing with contrabass and violin, Polish violin, American bass player, and that's Rabia there. I'm sorry it's from behind the drums, but I thought it was a good chance for people to see kind of what it really is like on the stage here, just for a few seconds here. Okay.
Wow, it's a rock and roll.
Yeah. Actually, the reason why I wanted I wanted to share that because as I was kind of talking about my history, I grew up as a rock and roll drummer. And I think, a lot of things with frame drums, it gets kind of categorized into like world music or traditional music or something that's going to be really delicate and sensitive and nothing like that, in fact. So my kind of point of showing that video is like, okay, yeah, I'm doing two things at once. I'm playing full on hard like a rock drummer, but I'm playing also with oud and violin and contrabass. I'm not playing in a death metal band. But also at the same time, in the recent years, I do a lot of tracks for a Turkish metal band, a very famous Turkish metal band in Istanbul called Manga. Wow. And they're like an industrial rock, definitely nothing that would have been my training for. But because I understand that world of rock and roll a little bit, and I know how to make a kind of big sound in a certain way, I can go into that direction as well. So I kind of wanted to say one thing about when I tell these stories, it's like, you have no idea, with the frame drum, there's so many different directions that you could go. You're not limited to just play the way that the Egyptians play, or the Syrians play, or the Turks play, or the Moroccans. You can find your own voice, and you can it's only up to you to decide what your musical capability is with it. Now, the hardest thing is, of course, you have to have how you express yourself. How do you know your technique? I mean, what you can do and what you can't do, what you want to do and what you don't want to do. And I have a very good fortune to have a good career because I'm very versatile in adapting to different situations. I can go from playing a show like that with Rabia, and the next day I will fly to Lisbon and play with a Baroque orchestra in some 17th century stuff. And then I'll fly to Sardinia and play with a throat singer from Sardinia that I also work. I think when young people ask me, how did you make your career as a drum set player and a percussionist? I said, well, learn how to pack really good. That's the first thing you have to learn. Get good bags and know how to pack. And from my side, as I talked about in the early interview, was how to develop drums that could be multifunctional, which ended up how I ended up with this kind of hybrid drum sets, which I evolved to now, where I'm literally playing a whole set of frame drums, either with my hands or with mallets, like in a classical way, with complete cymbal setups, because I design cymbals as well for Turkish cymbals in Istanbul. But that's the whole thing about me, is just adapting. When you play with a person, no matter what the person is, maybe they might be a guy on the street in Istanbul, and I've done it many times, somebody off the streets or things like this. How can you make this music better? And it's not about me, it's not playing solos. I'm the last one who plays solos. I don't like playing drum solos. I mean, I'll play the drum solo when everything else is under control. But just to continue a bit, yeah, I used to live in Turkey. After I left Austria, I used to work, I lived in Austria for a long time, working closely with Eckermann drums, and as I was talking about creatures, this is a really big one of that same design. And this is a totally different kind of drum, which I use mostly in studio because it has an incredible bass and extreme aggression. Snare. So I use this very often to play slow dokusakis. And that has a completely unique sound. about how that is put together. So I lived in Turkey for several years, 5 years officially, and I was teaching at the State Conservatory of Music, which is the Devlet Conservatoire. It's the school for Turkish classical music. And I was a guy from Iowa teaching there, teaching Turks how to play Turkish rhythm. So that was pretty much never happened before because I had spent so much time in Turkey and I was very close, and I know how to play Turkish classical music over the years. Finally, the conservatory asked me to come to build up their hybrid percussion program, as we would call it. At the same time, I became hired by Sezen Aksu, which in the Turkish world, everybody who would be Turkish knows who she is. And that was an extremely huge exposure for me. And we made what we called the acoustic band. She's, of course, she's been popular for 30, 40 years. She's the queen of Turkish pop music, basically. But we did everything like in philharmonic halls, completely acoustic, no electric instruments. So that was an incredible experience because I was playing drum set and frame drum at the same time. But instead of playing jazz club gigs or for a couple thousand, I was playing for 3,000 people. So that completely changed the way I looked at my technique. I had to get my technique extremely strong for playing hard these stadium shows and things like that, which is not a very normal thing in the frame drum world. Lots of frame drum, it's kind of like light and very peaceful and Sufi. I can understand that, which is what I was talking about before in the previous interview, how my fingers are. And I just want to say that one more time. I mean, this would take a real lesson about how I use my fingers. They're extremely strong here. I've worked many years on these single strokes. And that's really coming from rudimental drum training from when I was a kid. I developed that myself. I never had lessons about this. And it's kind of a unique thing that I think that I have is when I got that from Nabil was this straight, strong fingers. Only snap when I need it, but don't rely on the snaps. Now, there's the art for doing that in Persian drumming, and that's great. I don't do that on my thing. It's like more like rock and roll drumming in a certain way, how I sometimes approach the drum. And I would say I have an etude completely written with over 50 videos, every single measure. It's called Etude number 1 for Mizhar, and it's available completely with notation, with the legend, and how I do the strokes. And it's a complete 5-minute piece, basically designed to train people how to use rudiments with the frame drum. And that's available from my website. It's available on Apple Books, and it's available on Google Books. And
yes, we can see it there.
That's my website, and that's about the death method, which is the book that I wrote for Rick. And the reason why it's called death is because in the conservatory, that's what they call the course. People in Turkey, they call it death, they call it tef. There's so many different names for it, but we're talking about this thing. The Rick, okay? So this is a book that's written in Turkish notation and Western notation. And it runs through the usuls from 2 to 15, the Kujuk usuler. And so you can read it in Kudüm notation, which is inversed from what Western notation is. Normally in Western notation, we keep it on the bottom, the highs are on the top. Turks, in old notation, it's on the other way. So you get where it comes from the usuls, which is the classical usul way. And I adapted the Rick how to accompany those kind of rhythms, and it's completely full with exercises and building how to build your technique in this position. It's only in the achik position, as I call it, only here. I'm not going to be dealing down here. That's a whole nother book that I still have to finish. But if you're interested to learn Turkish rhythm from the classical side, 2 through 9 of all the rhythms with this instrument, or even if it's only with a bendir or something like that, from a Western guy, that's available.
Yeah, and so I think also in the chat we put the link, right? So everyone who's interested, go to the website of Jarrod.
Yeah, if you go to my website, you'll find everything because there's too many other things to go through here. So
many things. Yeah. Oh, Jarrod, thank you. That was so interesting. This journey through your experiences and your different stations in life. And I think if we listen to your music, I mean, in YouTube, you can find really many videos, and with Abu Khalil also. And
yeah, I mean, I've been with Abu Khalil for 22 years, and I don't know, 15 albums. You know, there's so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I can, if we listen to your music, I think people can understand more your sound, more your expression after our talk, I think. So for me, it was very interesting. Thank you very much.
Yes, I just have one more thing I would like to say
Yes.
about my whole story of my life. There was a point. As I said, I come from Iowa, pretty much nothing to do with frame drums at all. and I found in my heart something drove me to find it. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. You just have to find your discipline, find what you want to do, and you can do it. But I've had this happen to me so many times. People like Arabs or Turks even, or people from those cultures, how the hell can this guy play? He's from Iowa. He doesn't know anything. Don't let anybody ever tell you you cannot do anything if you really want it. And that's in life about everything, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is something we should not forget. Thank you for the words, Jarrod.
Teşekkürler.
Teşekkür ederim. And hopefully we will meet one day, maybe here in Freiburg.
I think I'm playing in Freiburg next year, in fact, or around in the Gegend with Rabia. Aber wir reden das, huh?
Yeah, you can let me know.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, and I really appreciate what you're doing. I think you're doing a great job with the festival all these years, and bravo. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Oh, live from Freiburg, our stream, our friend channel. We have now our guests from the concert tonight. At 8 o'clock we have a concert, as you know. Each evening we have a program here live from the Ewerk Concert Hall. And now we present the ensembles and the musicians of the concert tonight, because we would like to know what will happen tonight. And I would like to present the ensemble Delva.
Hello.
Hello. Applause. And here is Max Gerwien.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, so this is a special project, and first I would like to interview you a little bit about your music, Delva, and then we can find the link to Max also.
Yes.
So who would like to start maybe you can explain a little bit what will happen tonight, what kind of music and why you are here, maybe also.
Okay, I can try. Yes, we are Delva from near Munich. We are doing like kind of modern folk music. So we mix folk or traditional music or instruments with modern pop rock influences. And the funny thing is that I knew Max and you via the internet, only over the internet, and then you invited us to play here, and it's a big pleasure for us to be here, because I knew the Tamburi Mundi festival, but I was never here before. So, and Max, I knew him via the internet because he already played with a friend of mine, a singer, Sam Helga, and so it's really funny that he joins us tonight, and I'm very happy to have such a great percussionist with us tonight.
It's also my pleasure, yeah.
Nice. And so you are the first time here, Delva, right?
Yes.
And so which instruments do you play, each of you?
So it's easy. I just play the violin.
Just?
I just play the violin, yeah.
Why you say just?
Because other people in my band, they play more instruments, or singing, while drumming and flute. And maybe he can explain.
Yeah, I normally play guitar, acoustic guitar, but tonight I have an Irish instrument. It's called gizuki. It's a mixture of bouzouki, the Irish bouzouki, and it's made like a guitar, more strings, 10 strings, and it has a very special sound, and that's typical for Delva. We have many instruments we play. Johanna, for example, she plays many percussion instruments like darabuka and boron, and Judith plays not only violin, she has another Irish instrument.
Right, I forgot.
But tonight
But I'm not playing it today, yeah.
Yeah, and it's called?
It's called grotta. It's kind of a Celtic instrument. I never really learned how to play, but I tried, and I love the sound. It's very dark, like a viola. And so we used it for some songs, but not for tonight. I'm sorry. Maybe next time.
Okay, so we have to invite you again so that we can listen to this concert.
There are already so many instruments tonight.
Oh, really?
Like Max is playing, and Francesco and Stefan also are gonna join us. So there are two great musicians playing before us this evening, and then there are a few songs where we all play together.
Right.
It'll be very nice.
And you are singing, right?
Yes, I'm singing mainly and playing a bit, like percussion and Irish whistles and a little bit piano. Yes.
Wow, really colorful, full of different sounds and instruments. And I saw you on YouTube, of course, and I follow some Facebook and Insta links. And I like your style. It's very fresh, and you use your instruments really. You take the sounds you put them in the right place.
Thanks.
So, and also using frame drums, and I think you play also Rick, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not a professional percussionist, but I love the sound and to place it in modern music.
Yeah. And you are from originally, you are near Munich, right?
Yes, we're we came together today from many different places. I'm in Berlin at the moment, and my guys here are from near Munich, and you are from near
In Schondorf. maybe some people know Schondorf. Stuttgart is the next big. So yeah.
Yeah, and we know Schondorf, but I don't know if someone in Canada knows Schondorf. But now you know Schondorf.
Google it. Google it.
Just Google Schondorf. We can write in the chat Schondorf.
Yes.
Yeah, and but you are kind of family, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a secret or
No, there's no secret.
No secret.
So this is my sister.
Yeah.
That's my husband. We have 2 children also.
Oh, 3.
They're not playing in
No,
the band
2,
yet.
just 2.
2. How old are they?
Almost 5 and 7.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, you didn't bring them here.
No, we brought them to different omas and
Different
yeah.
omas.
Grandmas.
How many omas do you have?
Just 2. But
Just 2,
yeah,
okay.
But I think tonight they will watch the stream. And
So
they
it's
can
on
see
they
us,
will
yeah.
dance, the kids. Oh, beautiful. So another reason to invite you once more, then you can bring the kids.
When they are old enough to play with us, so we are the like Kelly family of a modern.
Yeah.
the big one is also playing a bit drums.
Ah, beautiful. Okay.
Starting
He
to try.
should start frame drums.
Okay.
Yes,
I will tell him.
he should.
No, yeah. And so Max, you will join the group.
Exactly,
And,
yes.
I think because we had contact before, and I think
Yes.
you were happy with this collaboration.
Yes, sure. Yes, I'm very happy with it. And actually, it was very funny because, as Johanna said some seconds ago, we know us for a longer time over another friend of us. And then you asked me if I would like to play at the Tamburi Mundi festival. And then you told me Delva is playing, and I know Delva from her. And then at the end, you asked me if I would like to play with Delva, and then said, yeah, sure, asked him. And then you asked Johanna, and she said yes.
Yes, I said yes.
Yes.
Always yes.
Yeah, but
yes.
it's a pleasure to be here, and I already played yesterday my solo show, and really it's a great atmosphere here. Really, it's wonderful, and really a good audience who also hears every detail. You know, this really they were how I can say it, very focused on what was going on, and it's very fun then.
Yeah, honestly, I was also surprised because in these pandemic days, you never know how many people will come, the audience. You have no idea. Normally, Tamburi Mundi is full with people. All the concerts nearly are, not all, but many are sold out here, the atmosphere. So since last year, it's different. So I was not sure this year what will happen, but the last concerts were very beautiful with good atmosphere. The audience is happy to be here, to join to share the music with all the artists. And I think also tonight, at least I will shout like crazy. Yes, so I think that's all. And so if you are if you would like to listen to all these different instruments and this fusion between Delva and Max, don't miss. At 8 o'clock we start our concert evening. And I think you have to go to sound check, something like this now.
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
I'm gonna try a few pieces and
Great. So it will be a premiere tonight.
Yes, really.
Yeah. Okay. So good luck and
Thank you.
we see you later.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Bye-bye. Delva and Max. Okay. Good. And we have tonight another program because we have a kind of a double concert. I mean, it's one concert evening, and the topic is poetry, poems with frame drums or with music in general. And also Delva, I forget to say, they write their songs themselves. So it's not only the music; they are really also very inside of the lyrics. And also the second program part is Stefan Nölle and Francesco Magaro.
Please.
Yeah, so I mean, if someone is looking, watching our channel that regularly, you know these guys already. And they were here yesterday, and Francesco was the day before, and so on. But maybe some of you watched the first time. Yes. So Stefan Nölle is coming from Munich. As an artist, you are like universe. Let me say, you're a song.
I doubt that.
No, singer-songwriter, drum player. You play drums also, and frame drums also, and you just presented your new frame drum method, finger path. So you're very active, and tonight we invited you because you performed many times here. It's a longer story, and I know he has beautiful texts. The text is more in German, or?
It's not more in German. It is in German.
It is
actually. It will be in German. This is yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But it is great the ideas that you use, and he was so I never saw before. He made this connection between lyrics, text, and singing also combined with frame drum. So that started many years before, and so I was thinking we can ask Stefan if he is he would like to join us here. To present maybe something new, and I would like to ask you what will happen tonight, Stefan.
Tonight will be like this first part when we're opening the evening. It will be a part of songs, so it will not be a concert with like rhythmic compositions, like in contrary to what we had last night, for example. But it will be songs, like everything will have lyrics and a text. I will do 4 of my own songs. 3 of them are just with drums, with percussion. 1 I want to do, it's a pretty recent song dealing with like the period that we're all experiencing since March of last year. 1 is dealing with that, and I'm gonna do a 5th song in German, which is an old lullaby. It's not one of my songs, but it's an old lullaby from the 19th century that my grandma sung to me when I was a baby. Yeah. So I'm gonna do this too. And when you asked me, could I do a concert? I said, maybe, yes, but is there somebody else? And you said, well, we have Francesco Magaro. And I said, okay,
No, absolutely not.
And I said, okay, thank God there's someone here who can maybe play something with me. And the great thing is that I think Francesco is far more a universe than I am, musically. Also, and so we decided to combine my songs with some Italian songs, traditional Italian songs. 2 of them I knew before, 1 was new to me. And we're gonna expand also with the instruments. So I'm gonna play guitar a little, and Francesco is gonna play the piano also. So we're trying to put we're trying to put something together.
Oh,
and hope it will work.
Yeah, sounds also very colorful. So from drum and voice, it developed now to guitar and piano and Italian songs.
Well, it's like, as far as my story is concerned, guitar was my first instrument as a child with 8 years old. So I learned classical guitar. And I skipped that around age 12. But then, like a year or so later, I picked up the guitar again. But I always wanted to be a drummer. I always wanted to play drums. And then later, at about 18, you know, I had sung like Simon and Garfunkel and Bob Dylan stuff with what you could still do at the beginning of the 1980s, you know, but then at age 18, I had the chance to get a drum set and to start fooling around. You know, I didn't take lessons back then, and so. I don't know, somehow I followed this, but then it was a very late decision in my life to really become a musician. I was already 25 when I said, okay, what I really want to do is play the drums. So that was late, and I tried my way and found my way. And then in 2007, we had moved, I had 2 little children, and like my artistic life was a complete mess, you know. And I saw this small flyer at my local drum dealer in Munich that said, here's a workshop near Munich, like 50 kilometers out of town, and Glenn Vellis is teaching frame drums. I said, oh wow. And I talked to my wife and said, hey, this is a 3-day workshop and it's closed, can I go there? And at that time, I didn't even own the frame drum, but I had seen Glenn years before and I was very fascinated. So I went there and boom. And then it kind of was pulling my sleeve. And so I started, visited here the festival several times, did workshops with Glenn here, with Zohar, with Ishai, and went to Italy to the Frame Drums Italia at Montelparo and met the Italian colleagues and everyone. So I just added the frame drums to everything else I'm doing. And then later, after picking up the frame drum, I started finally writing my own songs in German, then re-establishing the guitar as my instrument. So it's all like this, you know. It's with me, it's never straight. It's always like this. And and then there was the certain point when I said, why don't I try to put German lyrics to just percussive music, or just sing something with a beat, like other cultures have the tradition, like Luca Rossi 2 nights ago, like Napolitanian Tamora, they sing and play the drums, that's it. But we don't have a tradition like that at all, I think, in Germany. So I was trying that, and I will play some examples.
Great. And so Francesco, you know Stefan for some time?
Yeah, I know Stefan long time, because actually I don't remember the first time we met. I can't remember if it was in Italy or in Greece. Because as he said, he came in Montelparo for Drums Italia. I was there, but also we met in Udezzi to a Zohar Fresco seminar. We met here, so it's pretty long time that I know Stefan, but we never had the chance to perform together. So I was very happy when this possibility appeared, and we prepared something, actually I can say very new, at least for me also, yes, because this evening will be something very different from what we did and you saw in the last night, for example. as Stefan said, there will be songs. So we just shared material, and I choose together with Stefan some songs to do with the video. I like to go also in the Italian traditional of singing, and I found some songs which could be nice to be together with the Stefans, and we find some way to do it. So let's see what happens, and I'm very happy also to jump in the stage with Delva, because they are doing some incredible stuff, and they play Irish
You
songs.
will play with them.
Yeah, we
right?
play with them. We
Yeah.
just rehearse together some Irish songs, and I'm so happy. As you know, I love Irish music, so we
Yeah.
play something together
Yeah.
also with Stefan. But
So it will be Delva and 3 percussions then, Max?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. At
Wow,
the, in,
that will be
in the end.
a lot of percussion. Very nice. I'm looking forward. And you also saw the first time with Delva,
first time.
First
Yeah.
time, yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
and so they are quite young. What?
Very young.
Yeah,
Yes.
and but the music is has roots in very ancient time, right? Yeah, and how is it with the young? I mean, we are the same age, you know,
Almost.
almost. I mean, maybe you're a little younger than
Little
me.
younger.
I mean, more or less. But this is really, let me say, another generation, right?
Yeah.
So compared to us. So how is it to work with youngers? I mean, is there something say, they give you a special energy, or they, I don't know. So I mean, this is an opportunity at Tamburi Mundi to work. Also, when Glenn is here, I feel like young. And now, at the moment, I feel like old. So you have to switch.
Okay, let's go on. Let's go.
This is the switching from different roles. How is it? I mean, this is not only in Tamburi Mundi, in general, if you have reached a certain age. So if you are young, you're always more or less the youngest. But I think it is like 40 or 50 in this. I don't know how old you are, but
Yeah.
so
we
here
get to that
you
point
have-
later.
we can discuss after the channel. So you have some people that are less experienced, but maybe experienced in other things because we are in our world. And the other side, there are some seniors, let me say, so the musician in between. I think this is has a certain role or function. Or how is it for you, Stefan? Did you make any? I mean, did you think of it? Maybe not. Or...
Actually, I didn't think of that, because for me it's very common and very natural to play practically with anybody. The people being older, the people being younger than me. The bass player in my quartet, where I play my own music, my own songs, is 25. He could be my son.
Yeah.
Like age-wise, it's not a problem. It's I don't know. I've never thought about this maybe the same way that you just displayed. I don't think I really. I mean, now it's true that in a couple of musical situations, I will be the oldest guy, you know, in the group or on stage. That happens. Well, I'm not thinking too much about it.
No, that's very natural. And I think in music, sometimes you forget the age.
Of course.
Yes, and
It doesn't
because
really
sometimes from outside people ask me who are not musicians. You know, they see this. But I think if you do music, this is not important anymore. Yeah.
It's, you see, I've seen, I don't know how many people here may be familiar with great jazz drummers, but I saw Roy Haynes when he was about, I'm not sure, about 85 years old. He's still alive. He's still alive. He's like the last one alive of the really, like the great generation. And there was, you wouldn't think of age when you saw and heard him play, because it was just like fireworks and energy and going on, you know, and there's nothing, oh, that's an old man. No, it's just the music and the energy and the joy of playing and performing and being in that situation. So exactly. I hope I can stay a little till that age.
I'm sure. It's not I don't want to say old man, it's just experienced. I think this is something that is coming with the year by year. And,
maybe something that I think has changed in the years. When I started and I was trying to find my way like into the scene, I had the experience that some of the older guys were really like, hey, come on, leave, you know, we don't need that. And I think that attitude has changed a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I would never do that, you know, like tell somebody younger or more or less experienced, hey, you can't be here, you know. Move. This is, maybe I wouldn't hire him or her for a gig where I know there's no time to rehearse and we have to make something like this. But I mean, we're all more or less in the same situation, no matter what age we are.
Thank you. And so we are looking forward for tonight, your meeting with all the other musicians, and I'm really curious about your duo also. And you also.
Me too.
Okay, so thank you for coming. And Francesco, by the way, is artist in residence this year, so you have the chance to see and hear him also in other concerts. On Saturday, on Sunday, he is also here in the concert. And yes, so thank you very much, and see you later on stage. I will be there. And if you don't miss the concert at 8 o'clock German time in our YouTube channel. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.